Okay, hello everybody, welcome back. And today we are going to be working on Service Cloud, our first introduction to a formal introduction to the Service Cloud platform. At the end of today, I want you to go away feeling confident that you can explain the use case for Service Cloud and understand how it interacts with the rest of Salesforce, how it is positioned as a separate product. What we've been looking at so far is Sales Cloud, which is licensed differently and marketed differently. And from now on, we'll be looking at Service Cloud, which caters for customer service functions. It talks about the Service Cloud platform. That's because not everybody uses both sales and service. Some people use just sales, some people use both service. So the language is catered towards people who may not use all of it. But what you're talking about is still one single system, just with some extra things, extra bells and whistles to be switched on and off as you need. So the badge we're looking at today on Trailhead is Service Cloud Basics. So you just go and search for it in there, and we're just going to have a little look around, and then when we get to we'll see how we get on and start looking at getting hands-on with this. So there is a video to watch, but I just want to summarize first of all that whilst we talked about Sales Cloud being about opportunities, products, accounts, contacts, etc., Service Cloud is about accounts, contacts, and cases. And a case, so many meetings about what a case is, but really, in a nutshell, a case is just something that needs to be tracked, that needs to be resolved, that a customer has asked of you. So, for example, you phone a contact center, a bank, to talk about your account. If there's a problem or a question, in order to track how you are servicing your customers, your agent, who you speak to on the end of the phone or on live chat or on social media, etc., will create a case in the background in order to keep all of that interaction tracked under one roof, if you like, and be able to present the customer service management team with all the metrics that it needs for delivering service. So apparently the Service Cloud platform gives agents superpowers to deliver service that's as instant and easy as a conversation. We talk a lot about customer service being phones, typically. That's certainly traditional contact center role, but in this digital world, now we know that customers, when they connect with us, they have a preferred platform. Some people prefer WhatsApp, some people prefer Facebook, some people prefer email, some people like to write letters, some people like to make a phone call, other people like live chat. And the way that businesses can stay modern and cater to each of the demands that their customers are putting on them is to actually be increasingly more available and flexible when it comes to the platforms that people use. Some people might look at that and go, oh God, I've got social, I've got, phone, I've got emails, I've got letters, I've got all these things I've got to monitor. And yes, you can look at that and think, gosh, that must be very expensive to do. But once you have everything kind of baked into one platform and easy to manage across one way, then actually your upfront cost ends up saving you in the long run, because you're spending a lot less time, because everything's automated, you're spending a lot less time delivering service through Salesforce than you would be if you were still just trying to manage it through every platform separately. So obviously, all of these channels, your best chance of success of keeping your customers happy is to be able to respond to your customers' needs through the platform of their choice. Another way to make this more cost effective as well is actually to focus on a more knowledge-centered level of support, where actually you're able to help customers find the answers themselves, or even answer each other. Creating brand advocates and so on through the power of communities. So there's loads of different things that companies are doing to support their customers. This is just an introduction to how Salesforce has done it. So without further ado, I'm going to give you the overview demo. with no sound, apparently. Can anyone hear that? No. Nope. Get a new computer and I break everything. 2 seconds. Settings. Sound. Tell you what, you can just watch it.
Satisfied customers, a platform that unlocks legacy customer data, aligning sales and marketing with a 360-degree view of each customer. So everyone is in the know, knowing more about the customer than the customer may actually know, which for customer success is good to know. A platform that scales with you, providing customers with a consistent, convenient, omni-channel experience across every channel. Social, web, text, email, calls, products, self-service portals and communities. That new thing we're told is so hot right now.
So hot right now.
Because like your customers, you're able to quickly adapt to change, keeping your business agile to your customer service needs. Plus, it connects your entire mobile workforce. So field agents are in the loop, even when they're driving the loop. You can also integrate with any backend system and customize any service process with low-code tools like Lightning and Process Builder. And you can quickly plug in thousands of trusted pre-built service apps on the Salesforce App Exchange, all while receiving the latest tools and innovations 3 times a year, built on the trusted and secure Salesforce platform to help keep your agents and customers happier at every step. Visit Trailhead to get started and learn how to keep customers happier with Service Cloud. Blaze your trail with Salesforce.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so apologies for the technical hitch earlier, but hopefully you all got the message. So why do we use this? Why do customers actually buy Service Cloud? They buy it because they want to automate as much as they possibly can to make to make sure that customers are kept happier and they have all the customer information they need at their fingertips. As a result, a lot of Service Cloud projects have integrations involved. It's something that we can usually accept, even that there'll be at least 1 or 2 integrations, because you know, in order to effectively service a customer, your agents need access to all the systems that sit in the back end that enable the service or product that you're selling to them. What we have seen in contact centers is this is unfortunately your average agent probably has to work in about 16 to 20 different systems all at once. So if somebody sends in a question or has a problem, they've then potentially got up to 16 systems that they have to log in. That's just me picking a figure out of anywhere. I'm sure it's worse in many other places, or not so bad. So what we try and do with Salesforce is actually give customer service operatives one place to go, one place to work that gives them access to everything that they need. And that's where we talked about the service console and the benefits of having the service console, which is what we discussed in our last lesson, where we went through and built a service console. Saves them time. Productivity and effectiveness is really important in a customer service environment, because your costs for running a contact center or running a customer service function as a business can be sky high if you don't. The biggest value that
Gemma, you're muting yourself somehow.
I don't know how. Hello, can you hear me?
Yep.
Cool. Thank you. Yeah, for some reason I was muted anyway. Yes, so the biggest advantage of having Service Cloud is being able to give your agents as much information about a customer as possible. And when you're looking at a customer service or customer support environment, that's where your 360 view of customer becomes even more important. And from an architectural perspective, this is where we end up talking a lot about data. How much data do we need to surface for people? Does it need to be in Salesforce? Do we need to open a window from Salesforce into somewhere else so that they can reach in and grab the things that they need? How much is it going to cost us to continually do that? And that's where smart Service Cloud users are the ones thinking, okay, here are the most common queries we get. We maybe probably get about 17,000 of these in a month. Then perhaps, you know, is there another way that we can deflect the most common queries just to make sure that our agents are really answering things that, you know, really do require a human input, rather than things that could be that, you know, if it's just answering a simple question, it could be in an FAQ, for example. So when you're delivering Service Cloud, you're always thinking about the best way to empower your agents to empower your customers. And that's not just a sales pitch. It's actually true, you know, because your salespeople, your service agents can't service customers without an easy way to get hold of information. So today's digitally connected customers prefer to use self-service. I'm a millennial, very happy to be a millennial, to be honest, because I've grown up with the internet as it has grown as well. So I'm very used to searching for the answers myself before I reach out for help. Pardon me. So by the time, but that also kind of makes me a very frustrated customer on the end of a customer service call, because I'm the one that's already looked and the agent's going, well, if you do this, and they'll copy and paste an article and send it to you and say, well, if you do this, then that will happen. I'm like, yes, I've done that. Well, if you do that, then maybe that will happen. Yes, I've done that too. Okay, I'm going to escalate to tier 3. Yeah, thank you. So I tend to be a bit frustrated, mostly because I'm inquisitive and I tend to go and look for answers myself, but I'm not alone. Other customers prefer to have someone on the phone to talk to. Personally, I hate call centers. I hate sitting on the phone and waiting in a queue for something that I know could be done online if companies would just open it up. But anyway, I'm not here for a therapy session about customer service, but you know, there are a whole load of different personas out there, a customer, and when businesses want to get going with Service Cloud, it's often a huge job to just analyze all of that and think about, you know, who are, and spend some time just to understand who your customer, what your customer base is. Okay, so from the phone to the field. Now, obviously, COVID, global pandemics notwithstanding, your average contact center has had to very, very, very quickly move home, and has gone from being a contact center to field service technicians, mobile employees. And the great thing about the global pandemic for customer service people who use Service Cloud is that, you know, aside from your standard kind of security and IT requirements, those people who are using Service Cloud and are, you know, whether it's using phone or live chat or cases or whatever, you know, it's very, very easy to just log in and do your work from home straight away if you're using Service Cloud, because it's the same set of tickets or queries or problems, and you know, the same would happen. You'd have the same experience in Salesforce at home as you would if you were in the contact center. So you know, those businesses have been the ones that have found it easier to adapt in the current climate. One of the things that we talk about here is another product that Salesforce has, which is called Field Service. And these are this is an app that helps you with scheduling. So, for example, you need to send, let's say you phone up Black & Decker because your drill has broken, and they send an engineer out to fix your drill. Let's pretend it's a very big drill. Then they could use Field Service to support that. So you and it would touch that entire journey. So from you swearing and shouting because your drill's broken to you picking up the phone, speaking to Black & Decker. Just, I don't even know if they use Salesforce, by the way. I'm just picking a brand name. To them going, yeah, okay, happy to send out an engineer. They then create a work order. The engineer comes out, fixes the problem, puts his note or her notes onto Salesforce through their phone or their iPad, gets in the truck and moves on to the next job, you know. So all of that can be handled through Service Cloud as well. So let's watch a quick demo of Field Service Lightning. This is something else that you might want to go away and learn about afterwards, or we could learn it together.
Field Service Lightning connects your entire workforce on one platform to deliver smarter, faster, more personalized on-site service to your customers. Your mobile employees can view all their service appointments in a list, a map, or a calendar. Select any service appointment to see more information about the job. Check the parts required, or get directions to the location using any navigational app. Mobile employees can review the steps to complete the job, updating the status along the way. And for additional support, they can collaborate with other employees and access relevant knowledge articles, track parts needed for any job, and even scan equipment or product barcodes. Capture the customer's signature and include it in a full service report, instantly shared on the appointment record and sent to the customer. And the mobile app works regardless of connectivity. When you're back online, it seamlessly updates in the background. Support agents can book appointments from the work order, where they can access a case feed, milestones, and knowledge. Or customers can easily book their own appointments in the customer community. Dispatchers can view and manage all the scheduled appointments in the dispatcher console, coordinating any type of mobile resource. Or use MapView for real-time oversight of all field operations, whether you have 3 or 3,000 mobile employees. You can even view how all your resources in the field are being utilized. And managers can track key customer and employee metrics to ensure your field service operation is efficient and productive. Deliver intelligent, connected, on-site service with Field Service Lightning from Salesforce.
Okay, are you excited to start supercharging your agent productivity? Now you know the basics. We can go ahead and do a quiz. So I'm going to go incognito as standard. And let's work through the quiz. Trailhead.com. This is called Service Cloud Basics. Okay, so question number 1. Your Service Cloud platform gives your agents superpowers to A, log in faster, B, bypass customer calls, C, deliver intelligent service, D, take breaks more often, or E, all of the above. Okay, question number 2. With the Service Cloud platform, agents can connect with customers, A, on any channel a support supervisor chooses, on any channel the customer chooses, C, if the Wi-Fi customer is near a Wi-Fi hub, or D, only when the customer is on a desktop computer. Any thoughts? Yes. Okay, and question number 3, from the service console, agents can A, get a 360-degree view of the customer, B, respond to customers through email, text, or social media, C, see knowledge articles, D, proactively see when a product is due for service, or E, all of the above. Yeah. Okay, fingers crossed that you have all successfully passed that one. Well done. Now I want to talk to you about what a case is. And I think the easiest way for me to do that is just show you a case, as opposed to giving you all the marketing spiel. So I'm going to go to my hands-on orgs, and I'm going to go back to our, oh gosh, I do have a lot here, don't I? Learn Salesforce with Gemma, launch. I do have field service lightning in here as well, but ta-da! Okay, well done. So, oh yes, because this is what we did with the we did this with the console, didn't we? So let's go and have a look at some cases. So this is a case out of the box. It's like any other record in Salesforce, except it has some special things against it, just like opportunities. Opportunities specialities are having a stage and a close date and a probability of closure, and having all of those things kind of hooked up together. The quirks of opportunities is price books, products, and opportunity products and quotes and orders. Whereas Service Cloud, cases have their own unique, their unique features are that you can open and close a case, and that you can link knowledge articles to a case, that you can chat and view the chat transcript against a case, and that Salesforce automatically tracks the age of a case in business hours as well. Obviously, customer service environments are highly metric driven. So if you don't have a case in the system, you can't really capture how long it's taking to serve customers, and therefore spot opportunities for efficiency or training or career development. So cases are a big part of how we track what's going on with a customer. Also, in terms of relationships, if you're an account manager and you want to approach a customer and ask them for a testimonial, and you then you're going to need to know whether that is the right customer to approach for a testimonial. Because if you look at their account and find they've got 500 cases, and the latest activity is that they were very upset and disgruntled and fed up with our support team, it's going to be a very different conversation to what it would be if you didn't know about that. So that's why it's so important to be able to track things with a case. You get a few standard fields with cases. You always get a status, new, working, escalated. I'll talk to you about escalations in a moment. That's another feature that comes with cases and makes them quite special. Cases can be linked, they must be linked to a contact, usually, and they can be linked to an account. You can also build your own relationship fields with cases, but just be careful. Cases always have a type that you can configure, and they have a case reason. So, and we like I say, you can have many meetings about these things. So case reason, the options you get in your playground is things like installation or performance or breakdown or feedback or complaint or something like that. And then your type helps you to break that down a little bit further. I found that when in my past experience implementing Service Cloud, much of the work that's been done is business analysis. Because of the things like the cloud, because so much of it is metric driven and you've got big reports coming out the other side, you've got to make sure all your pick lists are being used in the right way and consistently, and that those categories align with things like your knowledge base or your chat. If you happen to use chatbots, being able to align that. So if you think about cases as sitting right smack in the middle of everything Service Cloud, then you'll remember more easily. A few ways that cases can come into the system. There's a thing called email to case that you can set up, whereby if you set up a support at ursamajorsolar.com, for example, and people email that email address, it can automatically produce a case for you. Other ways that cases can come through, you can create a web to case form and have that sitting on your website, potentially in a customer area or on a customer community, where if someone wants to log a case, they can fill out the form and it will produce a case for you. Same as you would with a lead. If you remember web to lead, it's exactly the same thing, just with cases. Other ways that cases can be produced is manually. So you could create a case yourself in Salesforce in response to a phone call or in response to live chat, and so on. Let me just think, any other ways that you can create a case? You can create a case through external products as well. So Salesforce has a product called Social Studio, whereby you can be listening to what's being talked about on Twitter, Facebook, Weibo, loads of different social networks. And you can actually, using that console, you can push a case into Salesforce as a result of a tweet or a Facebook status or a direct message of some kind. So cases are produced when some kind of response or action is needed between you and the customer. And it's not the same thing as engagement. Engagement is having conversations with customers that don't necessarily need a resolution, whereas a case is something where some kind of action needs to be taken. You might log a case if you're having a PR issue. For example, let's say you're engaging on social media and somebody's really disgruntled and is saying things publicly, then, in order to be seen to be responsive, you could raise a case and then use that case to interact with that disgruntled person directly through the case. And then you've got all the tracking of how much time and cost it took to resolve that PR issue. So it's all about gathering evidence in many ways, evidence of customer satisfaction or dissatisfaction, evidence of you being responsive to customers' needs, and being able to track, very importantly, being able to track the efficiency and productivity of your customer-facing team. Any questions about cases? No? Okay. Coolio. So, so the building blocks of fast case resolution. So if you think about a world in which your service agents have all the information they need at their fingertips, enabling them to resolve cases and very rarely escalate cases to a manager. So I talked about escalation earlier. Escalation is a concept that you can automate with Salesforce. It's the concept that for some reason you need to send this further up the food chain, if you like, because you're either not in a position to answer it yourself, hence the business analysis needs to be done, or if perhaps somebody's not responded in enough time, or not responded within SLA, or not it's a way to hand cases off to someone else or another team, if you like. So that's why and there are rules that we can build in Salesforce to support those business processes. So think about a world where customers can answer their own questions or even help to solve tough cases. And what if you never had to think about your case management processes because they just worked? Imagine how much easier service delivery can be. Well, this is still a problem, I'll be honest. Whether you've got Service Cloud or not, it's still a problem because everybody thinks about case management processes if they run a business. So, a lot of the grunt work in Service Cloud is less about setting it up and more about talking about how to set it up. Good time to introduce communities. Communities are another way of providing self-service to customers and giving them like a portal area to log into where they can manage their own account, where they can look at the products they've got. They could maybe put in a service request, or they could log a case. And for me, I actually prefer these kind of portal experiences. Like for my car insurance, I don't want to have to phone a contact center just to find out, you know, or just to change my surname because I got married or whatever. I'd rather log into an area which is secure and it's only dealing with my information, where I can make those changes myself. And Community Cloud is what enables people to do that. They can create and resolve cases on their own. They can find, they can read through FAQs. They can escalate support cases. They could close them if they've logged them by accident, etc. And you can enable things like live chat through community portals as well. Okay, no, assign your most knowledgeable agents to monitor the community chat room. You can get valuable real-time information about what customers really want, and as you deepen the customer relationship and get priceless ambassadors for your brand. Salesforce is a classic example of a company that has done just that. If you have a question about Salesforce, most of the time people don't go and ask Salesforce anymore. They actually go and look for the answer on Google, and if Google returns a response, or they go on help and training, and if Google returns a response, that though, you know, the websites in the search results are often from the Salesforce website, and they're also often from brand ambassadors, from people who are very keen to help each other and are celebrated for helping each other. Very, oh, excuse me, very engaged people. So a couple of things have happened as a result of that. One, cost of customer service would have gone straight down, because if you've got if you've got a product that's so great that people just love it for its own sake and they want to help each other with it, that's going to cost you a lot less in customer service for sure, because people won't be coming to you, they'll be going to each other instead. So that's far fewer queries that you have to deal with, so therefore fewer heads in your contact center. It also means actually that you, at the same time, not just in saving costs, you actually empower your employees as well, because the people you do have in your contact center are dealing with tougher cases and they're learning more as a result. So it's more likely to improve the engagement and morale of your contact center agents, because working in contact centers, working in sales can be really you know, can be quite a low morale environment. And you know, just changing the workload for these people by automating regular tasks can really change that culture. Salesforce Knowledge is another way of just continuing to improve that productivity and also improve that self-service nature, because if your agents are stuck on the answer to something and they eventually manage to solve it, if you've got a process that allows them to share the fact that they just share the knowledge that they have with other agents by creating a knowledge article, you know, especially right now when everybody's working from home, being able to just see that come through straight away is really important. And where I've seen that fail is where companies get too precious about who gets to write knowledge articles, because you've got a lot of valuable knowledge that might not be allowed to be shared because somebody's being very controlling over it. So yes, implement it carefully, but don't make it so restrictive that your agents can't share knowledge with each other. You can always ask people to update articles, or you can make them invisible as you go if they're giving the wrong information. But that also then leads to a whole different kind of role, which is a knowledge manager kind of role. So it's not just about getting Service Cloud installed and in your org. It's or switched on rather. It's most of it, and it's not just about the case management processes that go with it. In order to operationalize this, you quite often need specific job roles to look after it. You know, and that's a great opportunity for some of us. Excuse my text messages. So then what do we mean by knowledge? Well, we build a knowledge base and the components of that, I'm just going to shut my messages down. the components of that include knowledge articles. And in knowledge articles, it's very easy to force quit. Oh, I haven't even got Messenger open. I just need to turn the notifications off. Okay, no worries. Blah, blah, blah. So knowledge, it consists of articles, and articles can be made up of FAQs. They can be made up of manuals or excerpts from manuals, but you can also include things like videos and message history, tweets, images, all of those things that can help each other be more productive. And the searching around knowledge is quite smart as well. So it looks at the case subject and it looks for an article automatically and just suggests articles to your agents as they're working on things. See you later, Samira. Thanks for joining. Appreciate it. So here's how it all fits together. Managing your articles is a way of enabling people to set up articles, to search for them, to verify them, and allow people to vote on the quality of the articles. You can maximize the productivity because knowledge is available against your case and also available in your service console. So it's just like 1 or 2 clicks just to get it associated with the case. And what that also means is you can track the effectiveness of your knowledge base as well, because you look at the number of cases that have been resolved as a result of that article by attaching the article. And what does this mean ultimately is that you are delivering faster self-service. The next part of Service Clouds, we talked about cases, we mentioned communities, we've mentioned knowledge. Something else that agents can do in order to make themselves more productive is there's a feature called macros where you can record a set of instructions to complete a task that you always need to do manually, and you can enable them. You can just click a button or use a keyboard or use your keyboard to kick it off. And it saves a lot of time. So things like opening a case. So here's an example. Here's an agent who's doing these common tasks dozens of times a day to update the status of a case. They open a case, they go to the status field, they change the status, they click save, and then they rinse and repeat with the next case. Now you can do this as a macro. You select one or more cases, you just tick, 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 run a macro on all of them and have it do the work for you. Something else you've got is quick text. Imagine if you're always sending the same questions or the same responses on live chat or live agent. I mean, hell, I could do with it sometimes. Something I often say to people when I'm networking is when people say, oh, can we have a call? When are you free? And the most common piece of text that I send is, please take a look at my Calendly link and pick a time that works for you. That's something I wish I could have as quick text just for on my phone, on my computer, for everything, because I use it so often. There are plenty of other ways that you can use macros. You can use it to attach knowledge articles and, you know, update with your after call notes and so on as well. So it's really a great productivity tool. So it's quiz time, everybody. Question number 1, from a community, customers can A, answer questions and get solutions on their own, B, add their own products to your product catalog, C, have no access to live agents, or D, all of the above. Any ideas, anyone? D? Let's see how you get on. 2, a knowledge article is A, an article shared only with customers, B, an article shared only with your agents, C, a product newsletter pushed to service agents, or D, any type of shared document in your knowledge base. Okay, and finally, question number 3. Macros are used to A, create lists of instructions for agents to follow, B, save agents time by automating repetitive tasks, C, talk to multiple customers online at the same time, D, store large amounts of data, or E, all of the above. Okay, what does everyone think? I hope you've all passed that section. I think I would have said B for question 3. Right, woohoo! Right, let's have a look at Omni-Channel. Any guesses on what Omni-Channel might mean? Even though, yeah, just all the channels, yeah. Even though I know we looked at this last session, I'm just recapping. Okay, Jeremy, multiple methods of contact. Yes, so omni-channel means you have one tool to rule them all when it comes to customer service. It means to deliver service on multiple channels. But if you're already doing that, that's great, but it's not always very seamless and you're not always delivering the same consistent experience across all of your channels. So yes, quite right, Jeremy. Email, phone, text, carrier pigeon. So what you can do with Omni-Channel is it gives you one area where you can manage all the stuff that's coming through all your channels in one effective funneled experience. So you've got an automatic routing with Omni-Channel, and it takes all of the angst out of service apparently. So you can actually set up skills and you can add people to those skills and set up Omni-Channel so that when they mark themselves as being available, it can push them cases that are linked to those skills. It can push them chats, phone calls, social media, etc. But primarily cases and so on. No longer will your customers call in and cross their fingers that they get an agent who knows how to help them. It's easy to have the right expert resolve issues across any channel that your customers want to use. So whether that's phone, email, live chat, messaging apps, carrier pigeon, smoke signal, video chat, community portal, or social. So basically your agents just come in, they make themselves available, and the highest priority cases are pushed right to them. And then from those cases, you can respond using the same channel that your customer has used. So even if it's WhatsApp, there is support for WhatsApp now. You can actually WhatsApp chat directly against that case and have the transcript stored against the case, which is pretty cool. Then you have the Omni-Channel Supervisor, which we looked at last session, where you get to listen in and whisper to people, and you can see who's working on what as an agent supervisor, waiting times, etc. And you can ensure that those, you can deliver your customer service where your customers are, yeah, which is what I just said before. And then you can use a thing called snap-ins for the Service Cloud platform as well, and that enables you to integrate Live Agent into your mobile app or your website. So, for example, if you've got a case that's escalated, your managers can coach in real time. You could have somebody looking around on your website and have a chat, a snap-in pop up and say, do you need help? You can chat with an agent. We've all seen those increasingly more often, certainly in sales environments as well. And you can use the Sales Cloud console with snap-ins in order to capture leads through your website. But with snap-ins, you can also add an SOS help button directly so that you can screen share, add notes to screens, etc. So there's loads of different stuff that you can do. Live message is a way that you can use SMS or Facebook Messenger without having to leave Service Console, and it's not tied to any browsers. So they can basically, it enables your people to handle multiple conversations in one go. Let's have a quick look at the live message demo, because I think this might be the one.
Live message from Salesforce brings conversational service to your customers right where they need it, on their mobile device and on the messaging app of their choice. You can power conversations with a bot to automate service, or customers can connect directly with a support agent to get help instantly. Agents can reply from the Service Cloud Lightning Console, where they have additional information from CRM data to conversation history. so they can intelligently provide the right answers fast. Now, agents can be more productive by handling multiple conversations at the same time. And since customers can use the messaging app of their choice, they can easily engage in service conversations, not transactions. Deliver an instant, personalized service experience with live message from Salesforce.
From Salesforce. Okay. Who's ready for question number 1? Omni-channel routing enables companies to A, push cases to available agents. B, connect customers to the right expert for their issue. C, route cases from any service channel. D, all of the above. Okay, question number 2. Omni-channel Supervisor allows contact center supervisors to A, back up data for easy review. B, collect customer feedback. C, view real-time operational intelligence. D, create knowledge base articles. I think I know which. Oh, I do know. I think I know which one. With the Service Cloud platform, question number 3, companies can connect with customers across which channels? A, only email or text. B, email, text, and live chat. C, Android and iPhone applications. D, phone, email, text, Facebook Messenger, Twitter, live chat, video chat, and more. I think we know the answer to that one. Hope you've all passed that section of the quiz. Lovely. Are we ready for the next one? So this one is all about, this final one, then you can all have this lovely badge, is called the Salesforce Platform Advantage. So apparently you'll be able to explain why connecting sales and service will help you retain customers at the end of this module, and describe how sales and service cloud together can be used to better serve customers, which is the platform advantage. So until now, sales and service have typically been quite separate, and they've all got their own different needs and different objectives and different ways of working. Conventional wisdom is sales brings in new customers. Technically, I think it's marketing as well, but service helps retain customers by solving their problems, and never the two shall meet, except maybe for lunch. However, and this is key, today's connected customers are anything but conventional, and they expect to have amazing customer service every single time they interact with your company, and quite right too. Most people vote with their feet. If they're not happy with what you do, they'll leave. Simple as. So that's why service is just as important as sales and marketing when it comes to establishing a brand. Everybody's job, which I think is what I just said actually, without reading this bit. So we all appreciate the important role of sales teams, but retaining customers is now all about experience. It's not just about fixing problems. And your delivery team, if you are whether you're delivering a product or a service, the people who touch and reach out and speak to and interact with your customers are representing your brand. So as a company, it's even more important to make sure that that brand is consistently reflected throughout each of the functions that interact with customers, either directly or indirectly. So one of the leading reasons that companies aren't retaining customers is because of fragmented communication. And in fact, I'm working on a project right now where they have tried a few times to implement CRM, and it's just fallen apart because, you know, for whatever reason, they've ended up designing systems that just haven't worked for their team, which is holding that team back from really helping their customers in a more effective way. So I'm not saying that Salesforce is going to run in on a white charger and make everything better, but But the biggest challenge with this customer is around changing mindsets as well, and because at the moment their sales services and marketing teams and editorial teams are actually very separate. They don't have a lot of visibility into what's going on. All they see is order forms coming in, money coming in, and questions and problems being solved. What we're trying to achieve with this customer is to help create that joined up view. And implementing Salesforce is just one part of that. Implementing a different mindset is the bigger part of that. And they're very, very, very excited about changing that mindset and shifting it, but it's a slow process in many cases. So obviously people are ultra connected. We're used to being able to just go and get what we want online, right? If I can't go and get it myself, that's a real off-putter for me. I'm very much a get up and go kind of person. I don't like having to rely on other people to fix things for me. I prefer to fix my own things. According to the 2017 State of Service Research Report, 78% of business buyers say that they are extremely likely or very likely to switch brands if their levels of service are inconsistent. So that's what I mean by experience. If everybody is consistent in that customer experience, you're more likely to keep your customers. So keep it aligned and break down the silos. Salesforce does help with that, because it helps you to look at one customer and see everything that's going on with that. So here's all the lovely stuff about the Salesforce platform, which I think you already know, so I'm not going to just sit and read this out to you. Let's just go straight to the quiz, and you can have a go at this bit yourselves. So question 1, connecting sales and service keeps customers coming back because A, service agents are more patient than salespeople. B, today's connected customers want a connected experience. C, customers like to choose who they deal with. Or D, high maintenance customers can get more attention. Question number 2, sales and service clouds together enable your team to A, deliver personalized experience based on customer insights, B, hand off picky sales questions to service agents, C, use customer buying histories to sell off old inventory, D, tag team questions when someone is unavailable. And question number 3, the Salesforce Platform Advantage offers A, an easier way to track customer transactions, B, more advanced technology for measuring productivity, C, unrestricted customer access, or D, seamless integration across sales, service, and more. Why do I feel like this was a marketing trailhead badge? Okay, who's got confetti? Have you all got confetti? Woohoo! Congratulations. Cat's got confetti. Okay, quick water break. I'm just going to get some water. And then we'll come back and look at this stuff in more detail. Okay, so I think a good one to look at, you've already actually gone ahead and we've done live agent, haven't we? So case management. Okay. I think that's a super badge. Let's have a look at Service Cloud for Lightning Experience. Yes, because that should get us part of the way through, and then we can look at a project for homework, I think, or even the super badge, who knows. So Service Cloud Basics for Classic, don't look at Classic. We're doing Lightning, so I wouldn't worry too much about it. So in this badge, it's called Service Cloud for Lightning Experience, and I'm just going to put that in into the chat for you, so do follow along. So we're back to Ursa Major Solar again, our favorite solar panels vendor. And like most companies, it's only as good as its customer service, and it's growing from a local player to a regional one. And they recently opened a second distribution center in a neighboring state. But solar energy customers have options, and if they don't get the service they want, they can go elsewhere. Not only that, they can even tell and influence their circle of friends, family, co-workers, and even social media followers to go elsewhere. So the CEO is freaking out a little bit, has heard that her company is putting customers through a frustrating service circus. Poor Alicia, she emailed support 3 times, never got a response. Greg phoned the company with a quick question, but was put on hold for 50 minutes. Yeah, done that before. Colleen reached out to Ursa Major Solar on social media, but her post was ignored, and it made her feel alone, unliked, not important. Sita, the CEO, is worried that if her company gets a reputation as a service circus, company growth will vanish. She doesn't want any customers to walk away thinking that we're a bunch of clowns. So, to make matters worse, Sita recently read that 70% of consumers say technology's made it easier than ever to take their business elsewhere. I think that's true. And more than half, 52% of consumers are likely to switch brands if a company doesn't make an effort. That's my clown nose. Thanks, Kat. Sita sees how service can have the largest impact on Ursa Major Solar's brand.
Sorry, I couldn't hear what you said.
Good. So there's higher expectations. Customers want positive and personal experiences wherever they're engaged. So Sita, our CEO, envisions a new service model for her company where customers can reach out to her team from any device or communications channel, receive helpful interactions that build loyal relationships and drive future sales. Okay, I think we've flogged that one to death now. Okay, Sita's COO happens to be her husband, Roberto, and they've spent the last 20 years of their lives creating this solar panel business. And they know they want to improve the customer service, so they don't have time to research or experiment. They know a little bit about Salesforce. He asks, what is Service Cloud? Right. I'm not going to take you through all that. Let's watch a real quick one.
Today's connected customers expect service to be as instant and easy as their personal conversations. Service Cloud allows agents and admins to deliver mobile conversational service, all on one platform. Lightning Console, our dynamic agent interface. As an admin command center and agent console for customer service reps, Service Cloud consolidates your customer and case details, as well as performance data. You can even track call center metrics. Use the recommended content and setup flows to explore new channels and get the most out of Service Cloud. And thanks to Lightning Service, you can even run your business from your phone. Once Service Cloud goes live at your company, you can handle cases in the customizable Lightning Console, an easy drag and drop interface with its suite of collaborative productivity tools. Let's follow a typical customer journey, turned into a seamlessly delightful experience thanks to Lightning Service. Maybe your customer got the conversation going over email. Once that case lands in the agent's Lightning Console, they've got a 360-degree view of the customer, anticipating their needs and efficiently assessing the situation. Case and contact details, even customer history. You can put any information specific to your business in the agent console. Let's look at the case feed containing all the customer's previous interactions, emails, tweets, or phone calls. It's right there, front and center. The agent can respond to any customer across any channel, right from the Lightning Console. Agents usually field several cases simultaneously. In the Lightning Console, agents open multiple tabs and subtabs to nimbly jump from case to case, solving problems faster than Einstein at an algebra contest. You can also embed Lightning Knowledge in the console, your company's knowledge article repository. Share some knowledge and send your customer off with a smile before tackling the next case. How did you create a great customer experience? By simplifying the agent experience and maximizing productivity. This means agents have seamless and relevant conversations that quickly assist more happy customers. How do we quantify these experiences? Daily performance metrics or long-term trending data are both available on the Lightning Setup dashboard, where you can assess and anticipate bottlenecks to streamline call center productivity. Now you're on the path to customer success with Service Cloud, powered by Lightning. For more information, see this resource in Salesforce Help, or join us on the trail at trailblazer.salesforce.com.
Cute. Cool. So Sita likes how it matches her vision. So we've already looked at the console. So you've been able to have the split views and the related record list, the highlights panel, the compact case feed, the utility bar, etc. And all of those productivity consoles can be productivity features can be enabled directly in that console, as we know from our previous session. So let's have a look at this exact use case here. So we're going to go into our playground. So please follow along. And I'm going to move this over to my other screen so I can keep an eye on things. And we're going to switch to Lightning Experience if you're not already. And we're going to go to our global actions. Does anyone remember where global actions are? And yes, Kat, I think married to the CEO, that would be COO, that would be problematic to me. How do you even fire that guy or girl? So your global actions, they are at the top of the screen, and they are the little plus sign at the top. So you just click your action here, and then we're going to go to create a new case. And you'll notice you get this pop-up at the bottom, right? So we're able to put in some, log a new case for John Amos. So he is an existing contact. So John Amos. If we don't see him, we can just add him, right? So we just go to new contact. And up comes the new contact page. So we just make one for John Amos. And where does John work? I think we'll make him work for Pyramid Construction. And click save. Now it's going to kick off because I have not put. Do you remember when we did validation rules? And I put your dreaming mate. Yes. Remember, your validation rules come in. Oh dear. Looks like I shall have to switch that one off. Curse of the demo. Right, so that validation rule is happening on the contact when I try and create one. So check your objects, validation rules. Contact must be in the account zip code. Yeah, so I just deactivate that. Let's try and create John Amos again. Boom, done. Okay, so the status is going to stay as new because it's a brand new case, but you can adjust these according to your process. The subject is missing solar panels, and the description is solar panels for next week's installation never arrived. So I'm just going to copy that and paste it into the description. Woohoo, we have a case and we can get to it quite easily there. So as you can see, now that the case has been opened, you have the date and time opened in your local time zone according to you as a user. So obviously with me being in the UK, it's 9:30 at night. It's still daylight because it's halfway through the year. And then on the right hand side, we can see all of our updates, our case feed. We can see any calls that have been logged. We can see any texts that have been sent. We can look at status changes and track those. You know, lots of different things here. If there was any knowledge articles that matched or were aligned with the subject, we would be able to see those being suggested as well. So we can't at the moment, but now what it means is that now either me or someone else in my team can work on this case. And what you typically tend to see happening is that cases will be assigned to what's known as a queue. The queues you can set up queues as much as you like. If you imagine a queue as like a box full of users, and you can assign cases to those queues based on things like, you know, is it to do with, is it structural, is it engineering, is it a complaint, is it billing, a billing query or something like that. So it just gives you a way, it gives businesses that have been primarily working out of Outlook with distribution lists or a shared mailbox to actually just stop working in Outlook and come into here and work on a shared list of cases that are relevant to that team's skill set. I worked with a health insurer a couple of years ago, and they had a team that dealt with musculoskeletal issues. They had a team that dealt with mental health. They had a team that dealt with oncology. They had a team that dealt with longer term chronic issues. And they set up all of their routing. They set up queues for each team, and then the cases would just fly into the queues, which gave a very systematic way of working through them. Blah, blah, blah. So, and then it tells you, you know, what else will the new owner be able to use that's against this case, which is pretty good. So now that you're there, you can update. You can just go back to your cases view here and refresh it, and you'll see your new cases there with your missing panels. And then hovering over that will give you the latest update. What's the last thing that happened with this case? So if you're concerned that perhaps, you know, cases aren't being answered or quickly enough, or you want some visibility as an account manager as to what's happening with that case, you know, you can see Gemma Blezard created that case, and you might want to contact her and ask her, you know, ask her some questions or ask her for her feedback before I go and visit this customer, for example. You can also add your own comment to the feed. So you can select, if we go back into our case, we can select post. So this is how we can share a little update and say, John called, wants to know where the equipment is. And you can share that so that when you then go back up to your cases view and refresh, missing solar panels, there's my latest update. And I can keep refreshing in real time to see if there's any more updates that are coming through regularly. So they obviously love, you know, Service Cloud, decided that that's what they're going to go with, which is fantastic. So let's have a look at the quiz that goes with this section, shall we? Just putting it in my incognito. So it's only a 50-point challenge, this one. That's not incognito. Sorry, apologies. Go to new incognito window. That's it. I love how fast this computer is now. Okay, so question number 1, what is Service Cloud? A, an easy to use customer service application. B, a customer service application for Lightning. C, a console available on the Salesforce platform. Or D, a feed to track customers in Lightning. That's naughty, that question. Bit dodgy wording. I think it is either A or B. Let me know what you guys find. Question number 2, what are the key benefits of Lightning Service Console? A, pre-configured service lists, fields and feeds and articles, sorry. B, out-of-the-box support on customer history. C, pre-configured pages and productivity tools for service. Or D, ClickPass for better service and more productivity. These are naughty questions because, you know, 2 of these could be true. really make you think about it. Question number 3, to update a customer case with a comment. A, select a case in the Cases tab and share a post. B, create a case and contact and click Save. C, click the comment on case icon. Or D, select a case from the Cases tab and click Update. Yeah, I think it's A. Okay, what do we all think? Have we all passed that one? Cool. This is where it gets a little bit annoying when you've done it already because you can't follow along in the same way. Okay. So before we can, you still hung up on Sita's husband. Yeah, I know. It's a little bit of nepotism, isn't it? Anyway, so setting up Service Cloud. Maria, who works for Ursa Major Solar, for her, Salesforce admin is just a small part of her job, and she has to help out the sales team, but she's not familiar with Service Cloud, and there's no budget for formal training, so she's a little bit worried that's going to be hard to set up. So they have created a new way to set up Service Cloud using Service Setup. So to get to that, you just click your cog and you go to Service Setup, and you get a different experience to setting up Service Cloud than you would if you were just configuring the platform without Service Cloud. So you'll see here you get your Service Cloud basics. Oh, sorry. Here is where you can set up your email to case so that when people email an email address, it will produce a case. Here is where you can add your users and customize your statuses and so on. And there's a performance summary, which is what they were showing us in the video earlier. So we know we've got 29 cases, of which one was created today. March was when we spun up the org. So this is an easy way for us to set up Salesforce. Service setup, I've already done that bit. How to get to it, yeah, already done that bit. Next thing you know, you're there, or already done that bit. And if we want to go beyond, then, and we can check, we want to change the appearance of the console and so on, then we just have to do it through App Manager. Oh, so the way we do that is just to go into Quick Find and click App Manager, which is, you know, you guys have done this a few times already. And when you're setting up your service, you just find Service Console, click your down arrow and click Edit, and then you can change your branding and your themes, and you can change what opens and when, and you can upload different images and so on. So it's always helpful. So, which I've already done. So the general setup process for Service Cloud is first you have to automate your case management. So set up your cases, put the right fields on there, route your questions and comments and feedback to the right people, put your metrics in. Second, you add your channels. Once you've got your cases set up, you can add your channels, and then the channels start producing cases. Then you capture your knowledge. As you start to learn and as you start to resolve cases, certainly when I was at Financial Force and I was helping customers with implementation, I was quite often found to be looking through cases and knowledge articles and solutions to try and find the right answer, or at least find someone who had the same problem and reverse engineer as to how they fixed it. So the knowledge side of things, you tend to, when you implement, you tend to start with the most common ones first, with answers to the most common questions, and then you ramp up as you go. And if you are able to get a knowledge manager in to put a process in place where that knowledge is continually added to and approved, then that's another workflow that you can set up. And then expanding efficiencies with AI. So being able to use artificial intelligence, being able to use bots. Salesforce has got a thing called Einstein Bots, which is a chatbot piece, and it enables you to have a conversation with a robot about, you know, if you've got very commonly asked questions, it's a way of, it's another experience for giving those frequently asked questions and escalating. Sorry, I think it's just because I'm talking and the oxygen levels in here, that's why I keep yawning, apologies. So to look at this pictorially, You start with your case management, you expand to channels, you then build on your knowledge, and then you can start. Once you've got knowledge and data, then your AI and your bots become more relevant and much more effective for you, because they learn based on data. And if there's no data there, it can't learn. So you're much better off having the other previous steps completed first. So we're going to start with case management, but before we do that, we've got another quiz. So question number 1, what are 2 key benefits of Lightning service setup? A, prompts and social media flows. B, recommendations and flows. C, email metrics and home tab. D, service metrics and setup flows. Question number 2, to get to Lightning service setup, you A, click the setup icon, B, click app manager in setup, C, click the gear icon, then service setup, or D, click edit next to Lightning service. Yep. Question number 3, the second stage in the setup process for Service Cloud is to A, add all case management features, B, add channels so that your team can respond to customers, C, set up queues, escalation rules, and auto response rules. That's to catch out all the clever ones. And D, set up a knowledge base or artificial intelligence features. What do we all reckon? Okay, hopefully you've all passed that quiz, and we can go on to automating case management. Fun times. So case management, a lot of the conversation around case management is business process related. So there are a few automation tools that we can use to automate the management of cases. And why do we do that? It just makes it easier and faster. So queues, which we talked about earlier, a queue is like a little it's like a box containing users, which agents can jump in and out of to solve different types of cases. So in previous world, you might have a shared mailbox that people have access to. Queues can be the owner of cases. They can be the owner of leads. And you can also set queues up to be the owner of certain custom objects as well, as long as they're not they're not on the detail side of a master detail relationship. What's next? So assignment rules. We haven't really looked at assignment rules, and I'm gonna take the opportunity now. When we did Sales Cloud, we didn't actually also talk about assignment rules for leads. Assignment rules can be used whenever you've got data coming inside into Salesforce from outside. So if you've got a case that is being created from a community, if you've got a case that's being created through web to lead, web to case, or through email to case, and the same for leads as well. If they're coming through web to lead, or they're coming through a sales chatbot or something like that, you know, lead and case assignment rules work the same way. And what they effectively do, and you can see here, you got under marketing, lead assignment rules, under service, case assignment rules. What they do is they create a series of rules for what should happen to a lead or a case when they first enter the system. So looking at a case assignment rule, this is just a standard one that is included in the Trailhead Playground. You can have one active assignment rule at a time, and then there are different entries down here that you create. Now, what this is saying is that when a case comes into the system, so whether it's coming through, let's say it's coming through email to case, you can actually tell the system how to treat that case. Do you want the system to be assigned using an active assignment rule? Do you want it to just be owned by someone directly, etc., etc.? And an active assignment rule helps us to determine where a case should be assigned to, and the same with a lead as well. It also enables us to determine should an email be automatically triggered to that new owner to say that the case has come through. So as you can see, the rule entries here say that if a case comes in and the billing country is US, USA, United States of America, and it's gold or platinum, and it's a customer assigned to Gemma Blizzard, Now, you could create several queues for this to say this is gold customer service, and then you go in and change that. You assign it to a queue that's called gold service, and then you can add whoever you want to those queues. For example, and this is where it gets annoying because you have to have all that stuff in place first of all, but you can administer your queues through the users menu. And if I wanted to create a queue called gold service or gold customer service, I can create the queue. I can have it go to a mailbox if I really have to, but I tend not to do that. And then you can say which object it applies to, and you can also have it work through Omni-Channel as well. But down here, what you can do is the more scalable part, because look, you can add public groups, roles and subs, and users to a queue, which means that as your users come and go from your organization, you just assign them a role, and everything else, if you're smart with the way you set up your public groups and your roles, these people just inherit the access they need. So instead of saying, can you add me to this mailbox, you're automatically added to the mailbox because of the way that everything's set up relationally. So if I wanted to do, say, gold customer service, I could actually have, specific users. I could say Courtney and Alison are gold customer service reps, and they have access to cases that belong to that queue. And then in my assignment rule, I can go in and say, I'm going to assign it to the gold customer service queue. And I can also add any predefined case teams. If I've got very stringent sharing, if I've got highly confidential information that should only be shared between certain people, I can actually have a special assignment rule that says this is a sensitive case or a confidential case, therefore assign it to a confidential queue and add these additional people who need oversight on them to the case team so that they can look at what's going on with it. So you see what's happening here? Assigned to gold customer service. And then if it doesn't meet the criteria of step number 1, it goes and evaluates the criteria of step number 2, which is your silver customers. Then you've got your gold and platinum customers, and you've got your silver and bronze customers, and then you've got your partners. And that's just an out-of-the-box rule that's been set up. And remember, you can create these rules for leads and for cases. Another way that you can use case assignment rules is that there's a setting you can enable on case page layouts. And, this is something that I've seen happen a few times. If you look at case page layouts, there's a section up here called layout properties. And you've got additional case assignment checkbox. Yeah, so here you've got the ability to customize. There's a certain checkbox that you can tick when you edit a case, which is called assign using active assignment rules. And if you tick that box, it will evaluate, the platform will evaluate that case and say, okay, does this meet the criteria of any steps in this rule? And if it does, follow that criteria. So if it was a gold case, it could go to a gold person. Even if a gold member has picked off that case and made it their own, if they tick that box, it could end up back in the queue again. So you've got to be really careful. So Salesforce introduced this thing on the page layout where you can actually decide whether or not you want to show that box or not. And it's completely up to you. There are also a number of other settings that you can enable just on cases. And something else that's interesting about cases is that you have a separate page layout for closed cases, for when you want to close a case, because there's a special button. Shush. There's a special button on the case called Close Case, and it opens up this layout. So it enables you to just maybe prioritize the main reasons or the main resolution status for that case in a different page layout, just to make things really confusing. Okay. Another thing we've got is escalation rules, which work the same way as assignment rules, only it's around automatically escalating cases to the right people when a case isn't solved by a certain time. And then you have auto response rules. Auto response rules are, you know, when you email customer service at blah, 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 and then immediately you get a message back that says, thank you for your email. We're assigning an agent and they'll be in touch very soon. That's the example of an auto response rule directly in play. And the same for leads as well. You can set up an auto response rule to automatically email people who have used your web to lead form, which is something I still need to set up in my org. We have web to lead set up, so when people go to our company website and go to contact us, they can fill in, this is my company's website, they can go to contact us and they can fill in all of this form here, and that will create a lead. What I then need to do is set up an auto response rule that says, thank you very much for your email. You know, we'll be in touch soon. If you can't wait that long, just throw something into our diary, here's a link, etc. But you can use, it's a very similar setup for a web to case form where you can say, you know, what's the problem you're having today? Is this to do with what type of inquiry is this? Is it a problem? Is it a question? Is it a complaint? Is it a, you know, something else? And then you put the subject and description in and then submit, and that then creates the case. So then you get an auto response rule that maybe sets expectations to say, like, you know, we'll get back to you within 2 working days, etc. So your plan for case automation starts with answering certain questions, okay? Because that helps you to define what kind of tool you might use in, you know, to support your answer. And as things evolve on the platform, sometimes there are functions that, you know, maybe need to go off platform. Let's say someone's using Zendesk, and Zendesk has a great knowledge platform, and, you know, somebody makes a strategic decision to keep the knowledge articles all in Zendesk, but you may have to surface them in Salesforce so that people can use them, you know, so it's an integration requirement. But they start with questions too. So question, do support agents work as a team on specific issues? Well, if they do, then you'll need to create a queue. Is that understanding how the support team is structured enables you to set up your queues and assignment rules as well, because if somebody's offering gold support or selling a contract that offers gold support or platinum support, and there's a shared workload, then you've got your queues and assignment rules that enable that to happen. Do you have any support agents that work on specific products or have special skill sets, like, for example, deal with complaints? Complaints is highly regulated in certain industries. So you'll often see a very stringent process there, and it's dealt with a team that deals with complaints because they're specially trained. So it's a classic example of needing an assignment rule and a queue as well. Do cases need to escalate to someone if they're not solved by a specific time? Well, sometimes the answer to that might be no, but other times might be, well, if no one's responded, we can't have people waiting for more than 5 hours. Then you can use an escalation rule to basically bypass the agent, or if it's sitting in a queue and hasn't been picked up yet, you can actually have it automatically sent off to another team, so like the US team, for example. If you have a UK customer service team and someone logs a case for the UK at 4 p.m. and it's urgent or business critical, you could set up an escalation rule that changes that escalates that case and changes the owner to the US support team who are still online when we all log off for the end of the day. So, you know, enabling those time zone handoffs, enabling those skill set handoffs is a great, you know, and also just good old fashioned, they didn't do their job properly, escalation rule example. Should customers receive automatic responses? Yes, we want customers to know that we received their issue and that we care about them. So that's your auto response rule. And, you know, it is, bearing in mind, you could also use Process Builder, you could also use Flow, but you don't have to. If you don't have to use those more sophisticated tools if all you're doing is just acknowledging an email or acknowledging a case, for example. So we already created a queue, but we're going to go and create one for platinum support now because we've already done gold. So I'm going to go to my org and I'm going to click users. And I'm going to find queues. Sorry. So we need to call this. Let me get rid of all this stuff so I don't confuse myself. So we need to create a queue called Platinum Support. Let's see, who do we put in? If you want the agents included to receive an email, leave the queue email blank. Otherwise, type an email address when a new case arrives. Add case. So in this section here, we're just saying, what are the supported objects for this queue? So cases. And then we define who are the members of that queue. So add members, including yourself. So we're just going to do this person and then Ada. And now we have our queue, our Platinum Support queue. So the next thing we need to do is let's check it out as if we're support agents. So from the, so we go back into Salesforce, click the Cases tab. Come on. So back in here, into cases, and then we'll have a new view here, which is called Platinum Support because we created a new queue. So what do we do in order to get some stuff into this queue? Well, we've got to go in and create an assignment rule, or at least update our assignment rule. So we're going to go back into type assign and then find case assignment rules. And we're going to go to our standard rule. Oh, no, we're not. We're going to create a new one. This new one is going to be called solar panel installation. I click active. It should have a go at me because I think you can only have one at a time. Yes. So notice that that one, when I clicked active, it deactivated the standard one. Then what we're going to do is we're going to go and add some rule entries. So our case reason, because this is an installation assignment rule, our case reason needs to be installation equals installation. The next thing we have to do is to define which user is going to go to the which user it's going to be assigned to. So one of the many useful things about case assignment rules is you can determine how cases are assigned based on fields from other records that aren't cases as well. So you could choose case assignment based on fields from accounts, contacts, assets, or users. So if you click, and you can do that through formulas, you can go to if this formula equals to true. For example, if it's like a VIP customer, and you have an account with a type of VIP customer, you could say, you know, if it's VIP, then send it to the urgent queue so that people, you know, can kind of track that and deal with those cases as high priority, for example. So you can add yourself as a user assigned to the rule entry. Okay, we're not using cases. And then the email template, you can click the lookup and choose a template. And there are some standard ones that are given to you by Salesforce. So if I look at unfiled public classic, you've got a few different samples here. So there's a new self-service, that's the portal. Case assignment notification is the one that we want. So this will tell you that a new case has been assigned to you because it's met the criteria of your rule. So we're going to click save. Make sure the sort order is number 1. And we can see that it's active. And it will disable any other ones. So now whenever a case is created and the reason equals installation, then it will get automatically sent to Platinum Support. So let's just test that. So I click new case. Case reason is installation. And notice, remember that box I told you about? It's down here, assign using active assignment rule. If that's ticked by default, then it will just get assigned to your queue. So I'm going to leave it as installation. I'm going to set it up for Jack Rogers, Burlington Textiles, and I'm going to save it. Now, that should now be owned by the queue. And I don't know why it isn't, because I've clicked the box. Just refresh. Okay. Case reason is installation. Fine. Okay, being silly. So I'm going to leave that for a minute just to, because I only just changed it, or I'll switch to classic and just see what's going on here as well. Because I want to see, it's bugging me now, and that's not on. Yours worked. Okay, that's good. Thanks, Kat. Yeah, mine didn't. Mine was being annoying. Okay, no worries. Let's have a look at escalation rules now that we're in here. So I'm just going to type in escalation. And we have another standard rule in here. And we're going to create a new one called gold support. And click active. And in our new rule entry, we're going to say that if the status is new, then send it to gold support. It's very simple. It's probably not a real life one example, but it's just to prove the concept. So if the status is new, then what we can do here, and this is where it becomes really important around business hours, because if a case came in at 5 p.m. and your business hours are 9 till 6, if that case doesn't get responded to within 5 hours, five working hours, then actually that means that the case could be answered and still be within SLA the next morning if it doesn't get looked at that day. And business hours is something that you set up in Salesforce in the background. Let me show you where you do that. So it directly influences the clock, how much the clock is ticking on that case and its SLA obligations. So if I go to home and type in business hours, this is where you can define for your contact center, for example. So like here is my standard ones, 24-hour service, 24/7 service on daylight time, Pacific Daylight Time. But you can also add in like your holidays as well, so that it doesn't count your holidays against you. If you miss SLA and it's a public holiday, you can take that into account. But that's what directly influences these rules. So you can either ignore business hours completely if you are 24/7. You can use business hours that have been specified on the case. So you could set up some business hours in here. Remember how you can create lots of them because you can click new business hours. You can actually have these automatically set onto a case depending on certain criteria. So you can use Flow or Process Builder to do that. And then you can tell your escalation rule to look at, you know, the business hours that are set on your case that you've automatically put there. Or you can just use a flat set of business hours. Then you say, how are my escalation times going to be set? So do I start the clock when the case is created? Do I start the clock when it's created and then turn the clock off after it's been first modified, or based on last modification time? Remember, escalation is where you need to send it off to somewhere else. So for our entry criteria, so you create one escalation rule, which could have many entries, and they're all processed in chronological order. And when a customer issue comes in and is converted to a case, it's assigned based on the first entry that it matches, okay? So we'll first of all look at whether it's new. Set your business hours to your organization's default business hours. So we're just going to set business.
My apologies.
Stop it. Set to default. And we are going to click save. And then the next thing we have to do is to actually set an escalation action. So this is where you say to Salesforce, when your case status is new, have a look at the 24/7 business hours and start the clock when the case is created. And this is the bit where you say, and then you do this. So we hit new. If the case is over 5 minutes old, stop. And you can choose minutes or 30 minutes. Oh, okay, so this has done it by hours. Oh, okay, so you can do it in 30-minute intervals after that. So you could say if the case status is new and it's over 5 hours and 30 minutes old, or 5 hours and 0 minutes old, then you basically define what happens next. So you can automatically reassign to a user. So you could send it to a manager, or you could send it to a different team using queues. We want cases closed after 5 hours. So this is how you basically set up your resolution SLAs. I'll talk to you about entitlements on Wednesday, I think, because I think we're just about done. And we basically define, okay, who is the user that it needs to go to? So we can send it to Gemma, and then whether we notify them or not. And then once you've done that, once it's active, all your cases, if they're not resolved in 5 hours, they will be reassigned to Gemma and they'll be marked as escalate. And then finally, with the auto response rules, and then I really have to go because I've got someone waiting on a call. We can create a new one. We can actually create an auto response rule that says, welcome to support, for example. And click save and click a new entry. And we can say, if the case has only just been created, we can select, so case origin, let's say it comes in through email, equals email. Then you can specify, what's the name and email address that it comes from. So you can actually set it up to say from support with the support at abcxyz.com. And then a reply to address, and then you just simply put in an email template. So this is your auto response, case created, web inquiries, and you can even send a survey and click save. So now, whenever I, So it will check. You can't just put any old crap in there. And it will automatically email to say thank you very much for your case. So I think I'll leave it at that for now because we've reached the top of the hour. Thank you very, very much to everybody for joining. Let's carry on with this on Wednesday, and I'll talk to you about entitlements, and we'll finish off this piece about escalation on Wednesday. Thank you very much, everybody, and I will see you then.